Hello everyone, welcome to Banished. Gonna run through the tutorial levels of this game as quickly as I can for this first video, just to set it up, show you guys how to play. Then afterwards I do plan on doing a series for this. Not sure how long I'll let it run, but we'll see how it turns out. So we're just gonna start with the tutorial levels. Hopefully they won't last too long and I get through them all in this video. If things end up going too long, I'll probably split it up just to make it easier to upload. So getting started, learn the basics of the game, including camera movement, constructing basic buildings, assigning workers to jobs, and starting a new town. And here we go. Welcome to Banished. In this game, you control a group of exiled travelers who decide to restart their lives in a new land. You'll have to help them survive. Press next to continue. At any time during this tutorial, you can access the options menu by pressing this little options menu button down here or by pressing escape on the keyboard. From the options menu, you can save and load your progress, change settings, or exit the game. First, get familiar with moving around the landscape. You can move the camera around by pressing WASD, W-A-S-D. You can also move to the edges of the screen to move the camera, like in a lot of RTS games. Try it now, already did. Next, you can rotate the view by pressing Q and E. You can also rotate the view by holding the middle mouse button down and dragging the mouse left and right. You can zoom the camera in and out by pressing Insert and Delete, or much more easily, scrolling the mouse wheel will also zoom the camera. You can change the pitch of the camera by pressing page up and page down. All the keyboard keys are configurable and can be modified in the options menu. Now that you're familiar with the movement controls, it's time to start playing. The people you control need 3 things to survive: shelter, food, and a way to keep warm in the winter. You might notice that some people have this icon floating above their heads. All the people have that icon floating above their heads. This means that the townsfolk don't have a place to live. You can provide the townsfolk with places to live by building homes for them. First, select the housing menu on the toolbar, or press F3. F3 is kind of just a little bit out of my range. I have kind of small fingers, so I like to use the keyboard. Use the toolbar down here as much as possible. Next, select the wooden house on the toolbar. Using the mouse, move the house to the highlighted area and press the left mouse button. Placing a building will leave a footprint where it will be built. To get the townsfolk to start construction, you'll have to collect wood for the structure and stone for the foundation. You can cut down trees and remove rocks from the landscape by using the destruction tools. Start by pressing this button. Next, select Remove Resources. Using the mouse, click in one corner of the highlighted area, then drag the mouse to the other corner. The townsfolk will head to that area and start removing rocks and trees. While they are busy, you can place a stockpile where the citizens will store logs, stone, iron, and firewood. Select the storage tools by pressing this button, and then the stockpile by pressing the stockpile button. Using the mouse, click in one corner of the highlighted area, and then drag the mouse to the other corner. Lots of clicking and dragging. Townsfolk will move the harvested rocks and trees to the stockpile. Once there are materials in the stockpile, the people will move the logs and stone to construction locations. While any townsperson can cut down a tree or move materials from one place to another, some jobs require specialized workers. In the case of construction, you'll need to assign builders. Come down here to Tools and Reports, and then select Professions. Brings up this window, which stays up until you X out of it. This is a very important window, which most people, including myself, like to leave on the screen at all times. Try to assign 2 builders by pressing the up arrow next to the profession or typing in the edit box. So basically, if no one has a job, they are a basic laborer, so they will cut down trees and move resources around. And that's their basic job aside from taking care of themselves and their family. If you want other things to get done, you have to assign people from the labor pool to specialized jobs. So they want us to assign 2 builders, so it'll take 2 from our laborers. We have 6 laborers, and we have 2 builders now. They can now begin construction on the house. Just 1 house isn't enough, though. You'll need 3 more houses to give the other families a place to live. Once again, click on Housing Tools. Select a wooden house. Using the mouse, move the house to the... Wow. Using the mouse, move the house to the highlighted area and press the left mouse button. You may need to rotate the houses to get them into place. This can be done by pressing T or R. Rotate the building into the green display area under the house matches the yellow select area. So R or T to rotate. That matches. That matches. That matches. Sometimes it takes a while for the people to do all the jobs that you have assigned. If you're in a hurry, you can change the speed the game runs at. Another important feature they're showing us here. Press the fast forward button twice to increase the game speed. So bringing this simulation speed menu up allows you to pause the game. Not sure what that one does. Oh, that slows you down if you're increasing the speed. This is the current speed shown right here. This is the normal speed. You can increase the speed to 1 times, 2 times, 5 times, or 10 times if you're in a hurry. Try getting used to modifying the game speed. You can slow down, pause, resume, and speed up the simulation. Once all the houses are built, the tutorial will continue. So you can pause if you like. I thought space would pause too. I guess I'm thinking of a different game. Space does not pause, just so you know, so you have to resume the simulation. And slow back down, which is good if you want things to continue while you're trying to figure something out or clear out an area. Pause if something horrible is happening and you really need to work on something. They took away my window. The tutorial doesn't want me to have it up. Oh well. So we'll speed up to 10 just because the tutorial will continue until these houses are built. As you can see, there's still trees selected from earlier that they're going to harvest, and they're going to bring the logs over to the stockpile, and then they will bring the logs to the foundations along with the stone, and then the builders will start building the houses once all of the resources are in place. The reserves of firewood is low. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that in the tutorial. If this was an actual game, that would be quite bothersome. As the reserve of food is also very low right now too. Great, you've built houses for all the townsfolk. That may have seemed like a lot of work for a few houses, but now you know how to build anything. To build any structure, place a building footprint. The citizens will clear the area. If there's trees or stone in the way where you want to build, you can just plop the building right down on top of it. Citizens will clear the area and collect enough resources to build the structure. As long as there are citizens assigned as builders, builders will then take care of the rest. People are going to need food, otherwise they'll starve. They can acquire food in a variety of ways. They can hunt, gather, and fish, plant crops, grow orchards, or raise livestock. If the people are close to starving to death, the hunger icon will appear above their heads. It hasn't yet, so we're good so far. Since this town is near a river, the easiest way to quickly generate food is to build a fishing dock. So you come down here, this is the food production menu, gives you all of the different buildings that will get you food. Select the fishing dock. Fishing dock must be placed on a river. Using the mouse, move the fishing dock to the highlighted area, press the left mouse button. Circle around the fishing dock defines the area that fishermen will work in. 2 fishing docks are placed with overlapping circles. Both locations will yield fewer fish due to overfishing the area. So the arrows on this one need to actually be on land. They don't tell you that. It has to be on water and land. Again, the tiles underneath the building will show up red if it's not able to be placed there, as long as the icon with the little fish on it will be red. It'll turn white when it's in a placeable area. Most buildings that produce food or other resources require workers. You can assign fishermen in the same way that you assign builders. So if they had let us keep the menu up, it would be a lot easier. We have to come, bring this window back up, assign 4 fishermen by pressing the up arrow next to the profession or typing in the amount you want. So it took away our laborers and gave us more fishermen. You may notice this icon above some of the citizens' head, question mark. This means that the workers you just assigned don't have a place to work. As soon as the fishing dock is complete, they'll start working there, and the icon will disappear. So question marks above the head just means that they're assigned profession. They don't have a place to work. Any window in the game can be moved around by clicking on the title bar, title bar, little typo there, and dragging it around. You can also close any window by pressing the X button. Of course, it won't let us continue without closing one of my favorite windows in the game. Wait while the fishing dock is built. You can use the time tools to change the game speed to your liking. Once the fishing dock is complete, the tutorial will continue. So come back to time, speed up to 10, just so they can get it built fast. There we go. If you notice, there was a little quick question mark that appeared above the fishing dock. That's just because it had just been built and the workers that we had already assigned hadn't moved over to it yet. And some of them still have question marks on their heads. I think those are... I'm not sure if those are builders or if that's a fisherman going to work and it just hasn't got away yet. It's a little... Yeah, just a fisherman. It's a little bit laggy sometimes on updating the icons, but if you know you're doing it right, you don't have to worry about it. It'll fix itself out in the end. Onto the tutorial. If you build roads, people will move slightly faster as they move from place to place. Another big thing for this game. Place roads by first selecting roads and bridges on the toolbar. Select dirt road. Now, this is important. You have two different types of roads. You have dirt roads and stone roads. Dirt roads don't require any resources. It just requires a builder to go along, flatten the path out, and you move a little bit faster. Stone roads are much, much faster, but they require the stone resource, which is very important for building other buildings. So the only time you want to build stone roads at all is later on in the game when you have a big stockpile of stone and you're not using it for a lot of essential buildings. Stone roads provide faster travel, require a large amount of stone to be built, as I just said. So we click on dirt road. Using the mouse, click and drag from one end of the highlighted area to the other end of the highlighted road. So you can build corners and S-curves and whatnot depending on the different buildings that are in the way, or if there aren't any buildings in the way, it'll be just, well, I guess some resources in the way will also cause it, but, basically, if it's not turning out the way you want, you could just do it, like, in small sections at a time, but this one's worked out perfectly for us since it's a tutorial. Site builders that construct buildings will prepare the road for use. After they perform construction, the townsfolk will move faster when traveling on roads. Excuse me. As the town grows and workers produce food and other resources from many locations, it's useful to see an overview of what the town has available. This information can be found using the Overview tool. It can be found in the Tools menu. Open it by pressing Tools and Reports. Press the Overview button. This is another essential window that you'll want to keep open a majority of the time. And because, as the tutorial is about to mention, it's going to tell us what it has. You can see the amount of stored construction materials, food, firewood, clothing, and tools. You can also see current population, average health, and happiness, as well as the current weather. You can also see the date and the number of years that the town has existed. The current season's really important as it gets closer to winter. As you get into late fall and early winter, it starts to get a lot colder, so you need a stockpile of firewood to keep your people warm during the winter. The happiness is... they go over it later in the tutorial. Happiness, I think, partially is on the variety of food that you give them, and there's certain other things, like you can build a church and a bar and stuff to help with their happiness. Health of the citizens, the main thing there is variety of food. If the only source of food they have is fish, the health is going to decline, and the odds of them getting sick will greatly increase. So a big thing is getting a large variety of foods, from vegetables to fish to regular to red meat and so on and so forth. When food and other consumable items are produced, they need to be stored somewhere. Till now, the people have been placing everything in the cart they arrived with. Start of every game, you just start with people and a cart. Won't let me click on the cart, but basically the cart contains tools, coats, and food, and some firewood, I think, to start you off, but it's not a lot, and until you build the actual storage barn, which holds your food and other consumable goods, like the tools and everything will just be stored in the cart, and it doesn't have a very big storage capacity. So if we click here, select the storage barn, using the mouse, again, rotate so it's lined up properly. There's 2 entrances to the barn. If you look at the overview tool, you see that there aren't enough logs left to build the storage barn. We have to cut down more trees for construction to continue. So we come back, build more trees. People also need a way to stay warm in the winter. The easiest way to do that is to cut logs into firewood. To do this, you'll need a place for a woodcutter to work. That's main thing in this game, is trying to juggle your resources. You need logs so that you can build buildings, such as the fishing hut and the gatherer's hut, to gather food, but you also need the logs for firewood to keep your people warm, so you have to balance it out as best you can and figure and see which is the lesser of 2 evils, going a little hungry during the winter or being a little cold during the winter. And until you get the hang of how the balance works in the game, you're probably going to lose a few people your first couple times playing. I know I did. Select the woodcutter. They have the building all picked out for us again. The townsfolk are in danger of freezing to death. This icon will appear above their heads. If they are overly cold, the people will return home or go to the closest warm building they can find. This icon will also appear over homes that don't have any firewood available for heating. So we're out of firewood completely, because these 2 houses don't have any. Wait for the storage barn and woodcutter to be built. So the game won't continue until that happens. Uh-oh. Reserve of stone is low. Cutting down all these trees. Food? Nope. Stone and logs. There's foundation of the barn. Once you see that the foundation is actually built, that means all the resources are present for that building, and the builders are going to start working on it for you. Don't have all the resources for the woodcutter? Now we do. As you can see, foundation just now got built, so once they're done with the storage barn, they'll be able to start working on the woodcutter. Storage barn's done. Woodcutter shouldn't take as long. Just a small little shack. There we go. You can always assign workers by using Professions tool, but you can also change the number of workers when examining the details of a structure. That is one of the worst tips in this tutorial, because if you have that Professions tool open constantly, you don't have to bother trying to find the different buildings and having to click on them to assign more workers. You'll have the Professions tool up, and you can just quickly add more workers or remove them as needed. This is a very roundabout way of doing this, having to click on the building and assign by pressing the up button. Does the same thing as the Professions tool, as they say, but it's a lot slower and a lot harder as you get a lot of buildings set up in your town and you're starting to lose track of them. Worker will now start producing firewood. He or she will move logs from stockpiles to the building, cut them into firewood. The rest of the townsfolk will use the firewood to heat their homes. Now that the storage barn is built, the cart that the people arrived with is no longer needed. You can remove it and anything else you build using the destruction tools. So we come to removal and destruction tools, remove structure, highlight the cart, it's marked for removal. Low on tools. Speed up time. Some maintenance and a little luck, a small town like this will survive for many years. The children will grow up, become workers, and have children of their own. New houses can be built, and the town can continue to expand. At any point you need help with something in the game, or a description of how a building or tool works, you refer to the in-game help by pressing Tools and Reports, pressing the big question mark. Read some of the help references or press next to play the next tutorial. It focuses on resource production survival. This took a lot longer than I thought it would, so there's 4 tutorials total, I think, so we're gonna have to split this introduction tutorial up into 4 different videos. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked, leave a like, sub if you haven't already, and see you guys later. Have a good day.